Namaste to all the viewers in India and across the globe. It's a privilege for me to be here moderating in this international conference on sustainable meat solution by Clear Meat. The initiative has been taken by Clear Meat in India, and as globally we are seeing a sea change in the way we are seeing the sustainability coming in, and the lab grown meat, and the awareness that is coming up, that is growing. It's very important for us in India also to understand how it is taking shape, and what best it would have been when people, my panelists here, are people who are actually working in this segment, people who are actually involved here, people who are actually aware of this, and it's the right time. And I think I'll appreciate Clear Meat here to taking this initiative in India and globally to do these kind of conferences. Let me welcome now, joining us all the way miles away from India. Yes, you're right, from Israel. Gekowot is Dr. Neta Lavon. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have Dr. Neta Lavon joining us from Israel, and Dr. Neta Lavon is the CTO of Aleph Farms. And without any further delay, let me first ask Dr. Neta to introduce herself and to give us her view on this Clear Meats initiative of the seminar, the conference that we are going to take. Dr. Neta.
Hi. Well, thank you, Ravi and Clear Meat, for the kind invitation to join you in this global conference. I'm always happy to speak about my passion, which is cultivated meat. And I'd be happy to share our thoughts as part of this evolving ecosystem. My name is Neta Lavon, and I'm the co-founder of Aleph Farms, together with Didier Toubier, our CEO, and Professor Shulamit Levenberg from the Technion Institute of Technology in Israel. We established the company almost 7 years ago with the mission to find a solution to make sure that the population that is dramatically growing with time, purchasing 9.8 billion people in 2050, will have food that will be nutritious enough to make sure that they are healthy. Doing this without compromising our promise to the universe around us, to make sure that the temperatures are not rising too much, and really to keep the global warming and all the changes that we see around us in the climate around the world mild as we can, and less affect the ecosystem around us. And in order to do this mission, we looked to see what is one of the major products that we can change their consumption in order to have a very strong effect on this sustainability, and making sure that we are limiting the resources that we are using while still making sure that we have enough for everyone. And the protein which are essential for our nutrition are mainly coming from animal sources. And when we looked what is the animal that is most inefficient in its feed conversion ratio, we saw that the mammals, like the cows and also the ovine and porcine, but mainly cows, are the most inefficient, which means that every calorie that a cow is eating, or every calorie that we are eating that coming to our plate at the end of the day with the meat cut, with the steak that we all like, actually requires around 25 calories that the cow will digest, because the digestion is inefficient and has a ratio of 1:5, 1:7, and we don't eat the whole cow, only part of it. So at the end of the day, just imagine someone preparing 25 plates of pasta and actually throwing 24 of them and only with eating one of them. And this is very inefficient. And accordingly, Aleph Farms decided to focus on finding a solution to supply people with protein nutrition that coming from animals, but without the need to slaughter the animals or to grow them with all this contamination around growing cows. We know that growing cows requires a lot of land, a lot of water. There is a lot of contamination of the land that coming from the growth of the animals. And of course, the methane that is released to the atmosphere is making a lot of harm. So in order to make this meat very appealing and tasty, we took the building blocks of the cow, which are the cells of the muscle and the fat that we actually eat in our steaks. And we are growing them, instead of inside the cow, outside of the cow, in big tanks, very similar to the tanks that you are familiar with, that we grow yogurt or we produce beers. These same tanks that have a controlled temperature, that's where we grow our cells in order to make sure that they are making more and more and more cells. And actually we grow the meat that we would like to eat. And we only grow the edible part. We don't need the whole cow with the brain, with the legs, just the thing that we eat. And this makes this process much more efficient in order to meet what we are aiming: enough food with less contamination, with a more sustainable method. I don't hear you. I don't hear you, Ravi. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry. Neta, if I may ask two things, which you said very nicely, and I think in India, there's growing awareness into that. You're talking about the emissions. So I think, can you tell me about the reduction of the GHG that you're doing through this lab-grown meat, the cow, the example you said? I think there is, and India is now aware about the greenhouse emissions which is happening. So the GHG reports do come out, and we are very much focused into this. That's point number one, because that's where sustainability also comes into the picture. And also, I think incidentally, yours is the first company, as we know, who got the license also.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, thank you. So there was a survey that was done, which is called life cycle analysis assessment, that was done by Delft together with the Good Food Institute, that showed that we are growing cultivated meat. We can save 90% of the greenhouse gas emission, 90% of the land that is currently used to grow the animals. And accordingly, if we save the land, we can actually plant there more crops and getting more of a better environment around us. We can also save around 90% of the water that are used. And accordingly, this technology is much more efficient than the natural one. Actually, cows were not meant to be food. We decided to use them as our food and as our protein source, and this is really not efficient. With regards to the path to make sure that the cultivated meat is safe, indeed, Aleph Farms is the first company to get approval around the globe for cultivated beef. We are the first one that got this approval. That was done in Israel. This is the first territory that we applied for, and we got this approval from the Israeli Ministry of Health. It's not only the first cultivated beef, this is also the first steak that is distributed around the world, and this is our product. Our product really combines cultivated cells together with a plant matrix to make the petite steak, this thin cut beef steak, which is our first product. We call it Aleph cuts, and we hope soon to be not only in Israel, but also in other territories around the globe. We just signed an agreement together with the BBGI from Thailand and Firmbox, which is a contract development and manufacturing organization from India, in order to establish our first pilot plant in Thailand. And this is actually in our strategy of making a hub and spoke from this territory to spread around Asia in this location and many more territories.
Neta, I would love to see something, even an alliance with Clear Meat, because they are very much happy, and I'm sure the founders, Siddharth and others will be more than happy to see. So my takeaway here is not only GHG gases, but even 90% of the water you are saving, apart from killing of the cow. So that's extremely well. Neta, my next question to you is, how's your role involving in your role involving in coming few years with Aleph? That's very important now that you have reached a stage. And what are you going to be your major responsibilities now?
Yeah. So me personally, I have a PhD in genetics, and I focused most of my research working on cells and stem cells and their applications into pharma, into cell therapies. So my background, and probably some of the students in the audience asking themselves, where can they learn about cultivated meat? So actually, there is no such a course yet, or such a degree, a full degree about cultivated meat. But the people that are working in the field are coming mainly from the stem cells and cell therapies developments, because these are the same methodologies that we are using in order to grow them. And of course, from the food technology campuses around the globe, because we need to take this technology and make the food. We want the food to be tasty, to be appealing, to have the right texture, the right taste. And these are the food technologies that are really orienting the development around the whole process from A to Z. What are the ingredients we want to select that will make sure that this is safe and bringing to the end product, which is also of high quality. And we are developing together with this type of interdisciplinary team, this unique product. And that's my origin. Aleph Farms is now preparing for the launch of the first product, which is the Aleph cut, but we have many more products in the pipeline. And the pipe 3D bioprinting, making it more complex products that are also meeting other customers around the world. Let's say that in the US, they will be preferred to be a thicker steak, as they are familiar with. But I would say that we are not trying to mimic meat one-to-one. We are trying to find the way that combines what we need to do. So we need to bring nutrition in a sustainable manner. It has to be, of course, appealing and tasty, because this is food and this is the first parameter to purchase it. And it has to be available for people that want to purchase it, which means that it has to be in many, many territories around the globe and with a reasonable cost. The first product are going to be premium in order to meet the cost structure to be comparable with current product that we see to get today in the restaurants and the supermarket. But with time, as the technology expands and we get into very large scales, the cost would be comparable to everyone into the mass market.
That's nice to hear that the cost will be very, very appealing to the masses, because end of the day, Neta, what happens is all the innovations boils down to what are the costings. Yes. And I can assure you that I had the privilege of once visiting, because I am only a chicken eater, and I went to Clear Meat and I tasted their sumptuous, actually speaking, and that was my first experience of tasting the so-called juicy chicken, because I'm basically a chicken eater. So I am sure your end customers would be equally looking forward to. One crucial point now, Neta, one crucial point, because now, apart from your organization, I would like to ask is, in your opinion, how this industry can move forward? You have to have an adaptation. So what do you see from an industry purview? Now, I want to take an industry purview, and what are the major pillars in your experience and where players should focus? Because Dr.Neta, it's not only your organization or Clear, I mean, there'll be multiple players also coming in now. So now, if can I have a third party opinion on this?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that in order to do what we are doing, which is actually disruptive technology, we must have an ecosystem. We cannot do it by ourselves. And Aleph Farms is part of a great community of more than 100 companies. And these companies are in different sectors. First of all, we need the academia. The academia have a very important role in developing some new ideas and innovative ideas that all of them relates to efficiency and cost, just like you said, because we know that we have very good building blocks and we can make nutritious product. But if it won't meet the cost that consumers will want, that would be a problem. So accordingly, we need the academia to keep developing new ideas that will make the product and the process of production in terms of ingredients and bioreactors, for example, much more cost efficient. We also have companies that we call enablers. These are companies that actually develop services that they are planning to sell them to all the cultivated meat producers, like us, for example, or many more companies. And these enabling companies develop the growth media or bioreactors or sensors or all kinds of things that can really implement into what we are doing. And there are, of course, also ingredients companies. We work, for example, with one big company in India that is producing the basal media, which is the nutrients that the cells need in order to grow. And these big ingredients companies that were serving in the past the pharma world or making baby formulas for which also have all these ingredients are now looking at the cultivated meat industry and how can they really integrate and join this really revolution, this cellular agriculture movement. Another thing that is important is to really work among us, among the companies, to collaborate on topics that relate, for example, for the regulatory harmonization, to really make sure that we are pushing it forward together. The lobbying of governments. We need the government's funding in order to build these big infrastructures, in order to support the CapEx purchasing. These governments that will decide to take it and to really put their money where their mouth is, will really gain the biggest cultivated meat community. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Neta, it was wonderful interaction with you. Very good insight. And once again, from all of us in India, from Clear Meat and from everybody who is seeing you in this Clear Meat conference, in this sustainable conference, I think congratulations on getting the first license in Israel. And we would like you to be collaborating and yes, doing more of things which will help in sustainability. Greatly appreciate your time that you have given. And I think it's if I'm pronouncing it right, that's how it is said in Israel. Toda Rabba.
Very good. Thank you very much. Toda Rabba for the kind invitation and best of luck. Looking forward for next year.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay.